But the Belle Vernon Leopards, let's jump into it now. Hell Mighty Leopards, do your job, lay a brick. Devin Whitlock back at quarterback. Quentin Martin now going to get his lion's share of the carries. Ryan Hamer back in the backfield as well. I mean, Belle Vernon comes back stacked with weapons and skill position players. No doubt about it. Might be the best skill position players in this conference. I mean, we'll get to Thomas Jefferson here in a second, but leading receiver Tanner Stieber back, Riley Wyant on the outside as well. We're looking to see him maybe take an elevated role at receiver. Belle Vernon coming back with a loaded team, but kind of weaker along the trenches. What are you looking at here from the Leopards?
Yeah, explosiveness. In my opinion, the best 1-2 punch in the whole WPIL, and Devin Whitlock and Quentin Martin. That itself is just scary. It makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up, and I'm sure it does for defensive coordinators across 4A. It's going to be an explosive offense, high scoring, and the defense is going to be fine. The trenches are going to be fine. They always find ways to reload at those positions, and that's what Coach Matt Humbert's done at Belle Vernon since he's been there. Who knows? Maybe this will be the year that they get past Thomas Jefferson and win a WPL championship.
And they are graduating. Nate Farley, guys along the line, Anthony Evans, Dakota Marion, these guys that were, such a stable group of guys for years along the defensive line. There are guys coming back, though. You're talking about, Dane Levi on the offensive line, Ryan McGrew on both sides, a guy like Joe Clancher, who's kind of a tweener between the linebacker and defensive end spot, and then at linebacker, they lose Ian Maloney, but they come back with Riley Wyant and Cole Waitman, who are, two of that three-headed monster last season at linebacker. So it's going to be exciting. I mean, this defense is going to be wholesale better, most likely. The secondary is absolutely stacked. You got Logan Cunningham back at cornerback, which might be one of the best cornerbacks we cover, in general. This is going to be an exciting season for Belle Vernon, and there's going to be a storyline every single week for them. But the biggest storyline every single season for Belle Vernon, and here's the question, is it finally the year, Jeremiah?
I'd rather hold that answer to the end of the podcast. Ask me again at the end. I'd rather hold it till then. I think that's fair. I'd rather hold that to the end.
I mean, it's definitely going to be for a month before even the game is played. We're going to be talking about Belle Vernon on the beach hosting the Thomas Jefferson Jaguars. I mean, there's no other game that compares to, the hype around what that game is going to be. But Belle Vernon, they don't have an easy schedule leading up to it. I mean, they host West Allegheny. That's going to be a scrimmage. So you don't really need to schedule that, a super difficult out-of-conference Week 0 game with the schedule they have, at Chartiers Valley hosting Penn Trafford. I mean, Penn Trafford is going to be a good football team. Maybe, if you put Thomas Jefferson in 5A, those teams might be pretty close. I don't know who would be better in that scenario. Chartiers Valley is a team that is way on the upswing. They're going to be a much better team than what Belle Vernon saw in the playoffs last season. So what are your opinions here of this out-of-conference schedule even leading up to the Thomas Jefferson game?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult. I mean, even if West A is just a scrimmage, they got Auburn baseball commit Gavin Miller, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the state of Pennsylvania. That's going to be a tough hand. Like I said, it is a scrimmage, though. Yeah, and like you said, we'll be there. That's our game of the week on September 3rd at Chartiers Valley. Chartiers Valley definitely a better team now than they were in the playoffs. The guys coming back are a year older. They're going to be hungry, and they're going to be hungry to defeat the Leopards that night. And then Penn Trafford. Penn Trafford's got Cade Giacomelli. He's the really breakout star this year. He's been very good at what he's done at Penn Trafford last year. He's got the interesting story. He went to a camp up in Wisconsin And Coach Paul Chryst liked what he saw, and he offered him a scholarship right there. And a couple weeks later, he commits to Wisconsin. So he went from having, I believe, no Division I offers or just a couple to getting his first Power 5 offer, and then he commits. So it's a great story for him, and that's just one of the many great athletes on this Penn Trafford football team. So that's going to be a tough one. And then they get at West Mifflin, and then they head to they host Thomas Jefferson, excuse me. That'll be our game of the week for sure then, and that'll be the big one, as it is every year. Is this the Belle Vernon team that's going to beat Thomas Jefferson? You'll hear my opinion later in the podcast on that one. That's all I'm going to say. That's how I'm going to finish it.
All right. And for a team that had four out of 7 games last season away, they only got 3 away this season, and it's Ringgold and West Mifflin for 2 of them. So really, their toughest away game is going to be the Charters Valley game in week 1, and the rest of the way, they can kind of have fun at the beach and do their thing. So, and that last game also, this is a thing that Thomas Jefferson did last year for sure, overlooking McKeesport. Don't do it. If Belle Vernon ends up, beating Charters Valley, beating Thomas Jefferson, they can't just coast to the end of the season for sure. That McKeesport game is going to be must see on the field, I guess, for us. But Thomas Jefferson did last year, and McKeesport is going to be hungry for that game after that shutout loss the season before. So we'll get into Belle Vernon more before we, pick the conference standings at the end of the podcast. But yeah, such an exciting team to be able to cover, and it's going to be fun to watch them play. Watch Devin Whitlock make crazy plays, Quentin Martin long touchdown carries. Yeah, it's going to be exciting.